It's a Hyundai I30n. This is the last time this engine bay is going to look exactly like this. Let's have a quick look. Completely factory. It's going to be good when we change this all around. What do you reckon, Harry?
Yeah.
Here's a stock airbox that Rich has done away with and then manufactured our own aftermarket cold air intake. Have a look there. Here's a stock cooler. Interestingly, the AirTech cooler, we measured it, and the difference is the AirTech is actually 75% larger, not including the end tanks. So it's it is a very, very high volume intercooler. He's obviously going to see the difference as far as keeping those intake temperatures cooler for a longer period of time when he takes it out to the track. So, Project Hyundai I30n. This is the 2024 model. Now, this is actually really unique. I didn't realise this until I ordered in the intercooler from AirTech, that Australia is the only one with this new platform as far as the front is concerned. This is completely different to any other I30n badge 2024. So we actually had to extensively modify this intercooler to get it to fit, which it does now fit. Luckily we manufacture intercoolers here, so we've got the intercooler all fitted to it. Plus we've got the exhaust system as well. So this exhaust system behind me here, the Hyundai I30n late model one, for the Hyundai I30n 2024, is stainless steel purge TIG welded right here in Bayswater, Victoria. We have different options for tips. This one here has got the anodized black 5-inch offset exhaust tips, and then you can have a look and you can obviously see all of our welding. You know, it's nothing but the actual best. Now, as far as pricing concerned, it's fairly good, you know, value for money, considering that you are getting something manufactured in Australia to such a high quality. Now, I do want to just show you the factory exhaust system so you've got a bit of a comparison. So this is what the factory rear muffler looks like, and you can see we've removed the motor and we've manufactured our own mount with throttle in it, which is just up here. So you have a look. So all you need to do is unbolt your factory motor, bolt it onto our aftermarket system, and away you go. So this is truly a DIY kit. So we still have the air intake to go. That's currently being manufactured by my mate Richo over here. Where's manufactured? Whereabouts is the intake?
At the powder coater now. So jig's done. Yep. So manufactured, jigged up and down at the powder coater.
So you heard it from Rich. It's the last thing before the dyno. We'll get the air intake fitted and away we go. I'm interrupting him because he's about to fit these front bars. One more thing though. Also kitted up with some H&R lowered springs that drop about sort of 25 to 30 mil. Definitely the best value for money as far as lowered springs go. And I managed to track down some of these slotted rotors as well. They really do suit the front of this end. Did you end up fitting a blow-off valve for this as well?
Yeah.
Whereabouts is it?
Down here on the 6th boost pipe. Even in the desk.
So we can see there you got the Turbo Smart blow-off valve fitted as well. What does that do?
Oh, you want to know like a technical...
So the boys behind me have just fitted the front bar to it. We're waiting on the air intake and we finally get to get this thing on the dyno. I cannot wait. You know what I can't wait for? The road test. You want to keep your eyes out for this one. So I heard the Hyundai project on the dyno, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna run straight down there, have a look and see where we're at. Let's go.
ramp up the boost a little bit more, I reckon. So sitting at about just under 22 pound now, so bring it up to 22 in N mode and should be good for about 240, I think. So yeah, it's coming up well.
Give me a rundown, what is it?
It's an I30n sedan, so 2024 I30n sedan. So 2 litre, turbo, 4-cylinder, front wheel drive, DCT auto. So intercooler, cold air intake, Uni-x ECU as a plug and play, full Dyno motive exhaust, so dump pipe, high flow cat midsection, racing rear muffler setup, turbo smart blow off valve. That pretty much caps off the performance stuff. Then as far as the body goes, you put a set of H&R springs in it, a set of slotted front rotors, and gave it a custom dyno tune.
When you ran it up before we did any of the work to it,
yep.
How much power was it producing stock?
165 in the normal mode, 164.3 and 296 Newton meters. They've got an eco mode. I think I've covered this in previous videos. In the pre-facelift I30Ns, the eco mode basically followed the same tune protocol as all the other drive modes. In the facelift model, it does actually change the protocol altogether, drops the boost away, they run a different AFR. So in the eco mode on this, it made 118 kilowatts and 273 Newton meters. We don't play with either of those two things. Your normal mode stays as your normal mode, so an untouched tune, and your eco mode, not going to spend time trying to chase power on something that makes 100 horsepower less than standard. So I just left it at that. And then we go into the N and the custom modes and the sports modes, and that's when we start tuning it up. Okay, so the highest performance map is the N custom map. So it doesn't matter if you're in N mode or the custom mode, it's the same tune. It just gives you the option to still change your custom settings. That finished off at 240 kilowatt, 241 kilowatt and 400 Newton meters. So it's picked up, so it's gone from 164 to 241. So, you know, 55, what's that, 50, 60, 80. 75 kilowatts. And 401 from 296, so 100 Newton meters of torque as well. Incredible increases, not just about the top end. Obviously, these little 4 cylinders, they do spend a lot of time high up in the RPM, but even if you go back down sort of to the 5,000 area, you can see that you've gone from like 145 to about 220. You know, 80 kilowatts, just, you know, it's not necessarily what's happening up here, it's about what's happening throughout the whole rev range.
Excellent, so we've talked about max power, we've talked about the tune profiles. Now, all of these tunes that you've set up, they're selectable via the factory switch?
The factory switch. So the top blue one is the N custom that I was talking about. The next one down, which is the green line, that's the sports mode. Then you've got normal, which I mentioned remains untouched, so we don't do any tuning in the normal mode. And then the last one's at eco, we also don't do any tuning in that.
Power map?
Yeah, correct. So you got to remember, from factory, the red, the green, and the blue all make exactly the same power.
Okay. Yep.
There's no big differences. It's like 17 pounds of boost. I mean, there is a little bit of a boost increase in the N mode. It's nothing crazy significant. But just from there, I'm able to take control of those individual drive modes and bring the boost up separately, depending on what mode it's in. So to give you an example, that normal mode makes 16.5 pounds, 17 pound.
Yep.
The next one up, which is the green one, I've got at just a shade under 20 pound, and the blue one's 22 pound. So that's where we get the power from. So we're able to take control of the ignition timing and control that as we bring, you know, a higher level of boost into it. We're also controlling the fueling. So plenty of people have got like this big, you know, misconception that because we increase the boost like some of the other aftermarket tuning platforms do, they don't take control of the fueling. We must be running it stupidly lean. I'll bring up the AFR just so you can see that for yourself. It's the torque on the right-hand side of the AFR. Now, I'm going to get rid of the eco one because that can look a bit confusing. Now you can see there, everything from standard through to tune has essentially the same AFR. So we're still sitting down here, even in our highest level of power and torque at 22 PSI, we're still below 12 to 1. Now, anyone who knows anything about tuning will know that that in a direct injected engine is extremely safe. Considering that they're at 11.4 to 1, 11.5 to 1 standard, and all arms literally gone up to maybe 11.8. You know, just goes to show that we don't have to run them stupidly lean at 14 to 1 or 13.5 to 1 to increase the power that we get out of them.
So all these wankers putting aftermarket high flow fuel pumps on there, you're just wasting money.
One of our really good customers and a friend of the shop has done close to 60,000 Ks in his first generation I30N with a GDX turbo on it and auxiliary injectors and a full custom exhaust, and he is still running around on the standard fuel pump. I've never ever seen one of these require a fuel pump. We've replaced a few Stingers because they clap out, but never had to replace one or put a high flow one in because it's out of fuel.
And that one that you're talking about, that makes 300 kilowatts at the front wheels. 300
kilowatts at the front wheels that he drives everywhere, every day.
I hope you like that. That was my interview with Rich, our dyno tuner, who's done the Hyundai platform since you had your I30N fastback all those years ago.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've educated you. If you've got any questions at all, make sure that you comment your questions. Happy to answer them. And yeah, ask the big fella any questions. He'll happily answer you as well. They're about 15 kilowatts just for the bolt-on mods.
Yeah, 15-ish kilowatts just by doing an exhaust and the air intake. I'm going to flip it across into N mode because we're going on to somewhere I think I'll be faster now. We can put our foot into it. And then it does all the cool pops and bangs. So we take control of that, yeah, as in they have got a factory protocol with the pops and bangs in N and custom mode. I get some customers who want them made more aggressive, like in, for instance, this is where we take control of the ignition timing and, you know, at closed throttle, we do a little bit of fancy stuff with it to make it pop and bang a bit harder. Other people want it to go the other way and want to silence them altogether, so we can do that as well, but it does make for a bit more of an exciting drive with them.
It's got a really nice tone to it, even in the car. Like it's
and it's not. Well, the thing is, like, we can go from here, go back to being closed, so it's nice and loud now, you know. In N mode, and then if we go back into, I'll put it in eco because I know that the eco, the valve's shut. We'll do the same sort of thing. Just let it drive. That's sort of same sort of throttle position, accelerating.
How funny is that? I mean, you can still tell there's an exhaust there, but it's nowhere near as loud, is it?
No, that's right. So it's the best of both worlds. So you can bang it in eco, which, as you saw on the dyno, makes like 120 kilowatts, you know, and the boost just falls right away. So it does creep up towards 14, 15 PSI, but it falls away to 8 pound. But even like now, you can just feel it just doesn't have the same acceleration.
No, it doesn't.
As like what the N mode does. And there's a big difference even if you're holding it steady while driving and you go from like your eco tune, I'll wait till we get over this hill, and you go from like your eco tune like this and flick it straight across into your N.
Cheap.
So, you know.
Had to hold on. Oh gosh.
I think we've, it's kind of crazy because we've always been a pretty big fan of these cars, like you said earlier, since we had our own fastback. And to think that, you know, we build every day, every week, there's something with 1,000 horsepower and 7 or 8 second drag cars coming out of the workshop, yet we seem to smile over these 200 kilowatt, you know, little hot hatches.
It's because they're just cool fun. Like, it's fun. It's a fun car. Like, it really is. This is just a cool fun, like 240 kilowatts at the front wheel.
240 kilowatts at the front wheel.
Is it lane changing a bit?
Yeah, it does lane change a little bit. I mean, you've got to expect that. There's nothing. I mean, 240 kilowatts back in the day, you were stoked to get that out of a Gen 3. You know, like VY Club Sports were 240 kilowatts. You must have the coolest tune on the planet. Now we're making them out of bottles of milk.
Yeah, it's funny. Right. Do you want to do a couple of drive parts?
Yeah.
Drive-bys?
Yep.
Drive-bys. People are going to want to hear the exhaust. So what we're going to do, Rich is going to drive past. He'll go past in the quiet mode, then he'll drive past in the loud mode, and you'll be able to hear what it sounds like.
Yeah, try and get some out-of-car pops and bangs.
Be sick. So there you have it. Drive by. Hyundai I30n, Dyno exhaust, cold air intake, Uni-x ECU, intercooler, turbo spark blow off valve, making 240 kilowatts at the rears. That was open, that was shut. What you need to do, give us a call, book it in, because give it some personality, it deserves it. Boom!